Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pretty Playbook. This is my podcast hosted by Pretty Girl Dez through Pretty Girls Love Sports. And this is where I will be talking about all different topics and really diving into the true stories, real people's stories, and even my own life story. So today's episode will be just me. Just me. I decided I wanted to just have a conversation with me, myself, and I, and hopefully some people can relate to what I'm going through, to what I experience on the daily, especially with being an entrepreneur and a small business owner, and really just trying to get through the navigations of where I want my career to be and where I currently am, and navigating through all those hoops. But really quick, before I even get too far, I have a sponsor to thank. So watch this clip and we're going to dive right in after. Transform your looks today with Mrs. Barnes Hair Care products. Get rid of those bad hair days and only walk around with a sleigh. You can get yours today by texting the number on the screen or using the link in my bio. Run, sis, don't walk. You need this. Get yours today with Mrs. Barnes Hair Care products. As you see, go ahead and get your trends, baby. We have stuff to talk about, though, so I really want to dive in. So today's episode is going to be called The Envious. And I say that because a lot of times when I go through my own personal career and I look at my journey, especially with media and with pro dance, I really find myself sometimes being envious. And it's not to say that I'm not happy where I am. It's not to say that I don't understand what's going on with me or why the process is taking so long. But if I'm being honest, a lot of the times it does come down to that. Like, I'm like, why is it taking so long? Or I'll see somebody else's success. And although I know in the back of my mind that it's not instant success, I immediately go, well, how are they more successful? And I've been doing this for so long. And sometimes I have to take myself back and really get into my humble self, or like say I have to really take it back to my humble beginnings, because a lot of times I will forget like where I came from, or I forget like how I actually got into this and where I've gone since I've started, and I don't give myself enough credit for that because I'm often comparing myself to others. And that's the first thing I want to touch on is like a lot of times people are saying like, don't compare yourself to others, it's gonna be okay, it's only you. But in reality, we all compare ourselves to other people. So we compare ourselves to the people that we see that want to be, that we want to be just alike, you know? Now, it'd be crazy to be like, oh, I want to compare myself to like Beyonce, because at the end of the day, Beyonce is the queen of her era and her music and her genre and what she does. And that's not what I do. I'm not a singer. I'm not a songwriter. I don't do any of those things, right? But I kind of compare myself to the other African American sports journalists and reporters that are on the field each and every game day. And I'm like, wow, like, why am I not like that? Why am I not there? Like, what's taking me so long? And then I often be down on myself, like, well, because I don't have the traditional degree in journalism and I didn't have that super duper first start, or I wasn't an intern with this company and this company, like I'll never get there. And I have to catch myself, because the things that you speak into your life, the things that you put out into the universe, are sometimes the things that you actually get in return. So a lot of the times when I'm talking to other people, or I'm just talking about myself and my journey in general, I love to say, I am growing and I'm maneuvering and I'm getting there. And I have to remind myself in those same conversations, like, you started being a sports reporter, like legit started being a sports reporter a year ago. And within a year, you've done things that are unimaginable to someone who does not have a typical degree in journalism or mass communications or broadcasting or whatever those degrees are. You took a route and went to the army for 5 years. So you kind of lost 5 years of like that entrepreneurial spirit because you were serving your country, and that's okay. And when you did start, you hit the ground running. You attended seminars and conferences and, gained mentors and really dove deep into what you were looking to do and where you knew that you wanted to go. And you have not stopped since. When I started my brand, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to start. I'm just going to do it. So I started off by just throwing out merchandise. And although that's great, whoop-de-doo, buying merchandise with no backstory or with no like reason behind it is kind of crazy. And I was like, okay, well, I can't do that. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to make content. I love going to sporting events. I love going to games. So I'm just going to make content. And it's like, okay, you can make content, but you also have to have some type of direction. Like, where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? Like, what is the overall goal? And I think for a long time, I struggled with that. I struggled with figuring out what I wanted my goal to be. And then one day I met, people at a seminar, and they were like, have you ever thought about sports reporting? And I was like, no, like me? Mm-mm. But I knew I wanted to do it. In the back of my mind, like, you want to do this. But in the front of my mind, I was like, you're scared and you're not going to do it. But I did it anyway. I did it scared. And that's when my career really took off from there. Got to do and build relationships with Clemson University, Georgia Tech, the SWAC, going to big games like the NEAC SWAC Kickoff Challenge and the Celebration Bowl, and in a few weeks going to the Legacy Bowl. It's just, I broke into a space that I never thought that I could do it. And I can't lie and say that I'm not envious of some people who are much further and ahead of me. I typically sit and I'm like, I can do that, right? I can do that. I tell myself I can do that. And then I look at people and like, wow, can I actually do that? Like, can I take myself to another level that I've never imagined myself to be? I never could imagine that I could get there. And it makes me envious because I'm like, why can they do it and I can't? And I know that when I look at it in the grand scheme of things, because my faith and my spirituality, my religion is important to me, right? So I know that envy is, of course, a sin. And we all sin in our own way. But when I think about my envy, I don't necessarily see it necessarily as like a super harsh sin. I mean, we can't say one sin is different than the other, or one sin is worse than the other. A sin is a sin, right? But I'm like, if I don't act on my sins, to just really not sinning that bad, and that's just the delusion speaking, okay? Don't be like me, okay? Don't be like me. But if you are like me, then you understand exactly where I'm coming from, right? So me sitting and thinking about my sin, like, oh my God, my sin is this, my sin. And then sitting back and like, okay, what's for you is going to be for you. What's for you will not pass you. What's for you will come to you when you're ready. And that's really what it is. It's going to come to you when you are ready and can sustain what you have going on, right? So I want to dive a little bit more into this because I think it's super important to voice these things and to talk about it. And I wrote it down on my phone. So if you see me glancing at my phone, it's because I have it on my phone and I want to be able to talk about it more on my phone, from my phone, to be able to have my notes. If you don't take notes and you just be talking off the whim sometimes, I give you praise, because I talk off my head when I'm doing reporting because it's like in my head and I know it. But for me to get on here and just to be like talking, I will just be rambling on and on. I'll go 100 different places and it will never get to the point. So let's just get into this. So with this podcast, as I said, I want to really dive into things that are real life situations that not a lot of people tend to talk about or voice in the sports arena, in the sports space, or just in media in general. And I want to be that person, no matter if one person hears it or whether 10,000 people or 10 million people hear it. I want to make sure that I am being my most transparent self. And in my church, we talk about coming in hot. So I'm coming in hot every single episode. But especially for this one, I'm coming in hot. And hot just means humble, open, and transparent. I'm being humble enough to be able to talk about things that really bother me and talk about things of how I really want to be and where I want to go in the future. And I'm being open about these thoughts that I have sometimes and the second guessing that I have sometimes, because I know I am not the only person that goes through the second guessing, or that goes through the thoughts of envy, or that goes through the time when they're like, darn, like, you feel like you want to give up because it's like, I've been working so hard for this and I'm not seeing the fruits of my labor, or I'm not feeling what I thought I would feel. And it makes you want to give up. But either you do give up or you're like me and you don't, because you do actually believe in the vision that God or your higher power has given to you. So that's where I am. So that's why I'm having this episode, and it's a single shot episode. I'll be doing more of these hot videos, hot takes, because it's important that I build with you all and I build with my audience, because I want you guys to know I'm just like you. Okay. I may be on the other side of the camera. I may have a platform and I may be doing things in life, but I'm never going to forget who I am on the inside, because I'm a normal girl. Okay. This girl is a girl's girl. I like to laugh, have fun, but I also know that life, it be lifing. Okay. It be lifing and it be tearing you up. So if you are watching this and you feel like me, welcome to the crew. I got you always. Okay. So the next thing I want to really dive into is how this is relevant and how it's important, not only in your career, but in sports, even in regular life. How the enviousness that you feel in your success is important and it's relevant, and you need to talk about it. You need to identify it and you need to get it out, because if you do not, you're going to continue to go in this spiral, and sometimes you can spiral out of control, and that's not what we want to do. We want to make sure that we are our best selves, because we're our best selves. That's just that. Like, you come here to be your best self. Okay. And of course, like I said, this platform is about winning at the game of life. So we're going to win by being humble, open, and transparent. So let's get into it. So in sports, I want to take a moment to really discuss, like, even before I started the sports media, when I was in sports. So if you don't know, I'm a pro cheerleader. I've been a pro cheerleader for a while now, but I have not reached my ultimate dream, my ultimate goal, which is to make the field. I haven't made the field yet. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of the story a little bit. So I started off pursuing pro cheer in 2018, I want to say, 2018. And I do not have any technical background at all. Like, I came in, I went to my very first audition, and it was like, yeah, you have to do a pirouette. And I was like, a pure who? Like, what is that? You know, and they was talking about different leaps, you know, doing grunge leaps and debilitating leaps and leaps in second, doing calypsos. And I was out of it. I didn't know what was going on, because in my world, I came from cheer. And in cheer, what they may call a leap in second, I call a toe touch. What they may call what looks like a calypso or a hurtler, that's what I think it looks like, a hurtler or herky. So I was lost in the sauce. And my first audition was very humbling, but it also was very discouraging. Discouraging, that's the word I want to use. Because I literally wanted to be on that team so bad. And I was years away from ever making that team. I didn't have the right hair, the right makeup, the right look. I didn't have the skills or the technique. And that all led to me having lower confidence. As I said, I've been a cheerleader nearly my entire life. And I was, coming off of being active duty. And I started pursuing pro cheer when I was active duty. Because I was stationed in a place, and I was stationed there for a long time. And I was like, okay, this is the time to go after it. Like, I don't know where I got this like newfound confidence from, because the reason why I didn't go after pro cheer after high school or even like after college is because I never thought that I was good enough. I never thought that I was pretty enough. I never thought that I was thin enough. And although some of those things still rally in my head, my confidence that I have built over the years is way different than what I had then. And I believe that if I was a cheerleader straight out of high school, straight out of college, I would be a different person that I am today. I would be a brokenhearted person. I would be an angry person, a sadder person, because I didn't have the self-esteem that I needed to have then that I have now. And even now, it still gets discounted a lot of times, because now the talent is even higher, it's even better. Looks are even different. It's just like, I often feel like I want something so bad, but I'm not sure that I fit into the space. And for me, it's heartbreaking. And I begin to envy those who I see make it on their first time, or those that I see on the team for so long, those that I see that get to go to Pro Bowl, because I've always in my mind, like, I'm going to be those cheerleaders. And as I'm getting older, it's like, wow, I'm getting older. I have less time to accomplish this goal. And I'm still not there. I've become a pro cheerleader. I've been a pro cheerleader on a couple different teams, but I haven't reached my goal yet. And that's so disheartening. And when I look at it, I envy those because I want to be just like them. And it's relevant to think like, okay, what if you never get that? What if you never succeed and get to that? You can't walk around with envy on your back, envy on your chest. Now, I don't say that to say I have friends who are pro cheerleaders who've made it on the field, who's made it on NBA courts and everything. And I am so happy and I'm so proud of them. So I don't want to discount that for anything. I love my girlies who have made it, okay? Because in the back of my mind, they are still kind of like motivation, because it's like, darn, my girl has made it. Like my one teammate, we were teammates on the Flyers together, and now she is wrapping up her second year as an Eagles cheerleader. And when I tell you, I love her down. I love her down, and I literally was there rooting for her from the time she decided that she was going to audition, even to the time that she got into her second season. She texted me like, I just became a veteran, and I was like screaming, like, oh my God, because it makes me so happy when I see my girls, my friends or whatever, actually make teams. One of my other closest friends, I love her down, and she was a cheerleader for the NFL. And I was like, oh my God, like when we auditioned together, and I didn't make it, but she did. And I was so excited for her, so happy for her. And even now, like, we're still very close. She roots for me, I root for her. And we went through a few auditions together outside of that. And it's just so it's refreshing. And I kind of use that to be like, don't envy, because your girls have made it, so you can make it too, and you can do it. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, girl, you may just have too much thighs. You may just have a little bit too much love hand, a little too much, And unfortunately, like I have a back disorder and a condition to where like weight just doesn't fall off anymore. It never did, honestly. But nowadays, when I gain weight, the weight's there. It's very hard for me to get off. So, it's not like a girl ain't trying. It's a girl is trying. It's just that it's hard to get off. And that part right there hoards in the back of my mind, like, you're just a fatty girl and you're not going to make it because you're fat, right? And I hate seeing that. And I stopped saying that out, like I really stopped saying that out loud to myself, and I'm still working on it in my inner mind, because again, what I said earlier was the things that you put out into the universe, you put out into the air, is how you're going to feel. Now, I'm not crazy. I'm not going to be like, you're skinny, you're skinny, you're skinny, you're skinny. Because then I'll be lying to myself. And I understand that sometimes being delusional works, but I can't do that, right? I just have to say, I love my body. I love how I look. I love myself. And that's how I'm able to get through a lot of things. And that has helped me become a long way to not be as envious as I once was, because I used to be like, darn, like, I need to get that. I need to get that. And on episode 1, you heard me talk to my previous teammate, my cheer sister, and how we used to navigate through those times, because it still is that way in a lot of ways, but a lot of it is also our inner selves, our inner beings. Like, what do we feel for ourselves? What can we do to better ourselves? How can we be our best selves all the time without feeling like we aren't good enough? And I feel like that's a mental thing that I'm working on my own, of like saying I'm not good enough. But after so many times you try out, and I'll be so open with you guys. I think maybe about at year 2, I have reached maybe 14 auditions. And although I made maybe finals for maybe 2, it still was 14 auditions and I didn't make the team. So my third year trying out, I only tried out for a good handful of teams. And I was heartbroken because I tried out for one team and I gave them like 2 weeks of my time. And I really thought that I was on the up and up to make the team. I got all the way to finals and I didn't make the team. Granted, though, and I got to be honest with you guys, I was not my best self. I did make mistakes. And I just felt like I wasn't confident enough in myself and in my skills to be able to say, you're going to go out there and you're going to make that team. So the next year, I changed all of that. I changed and made all the changes that was said to me, all the feedback that I got, the little bit of feedback that I got from other cheerleaders, because you don't get feedback from your audition, unfortunately. And I came back the next year. I was 10 times more confident in myself. I was appropriate with what I wore. I had the one hairstyle. I was not changing it. I even I slimmed it down a little bit. And when it came time for that, I knew myself, like, I literally, no lie, I was in line waiting for me to go. And I just, like, I looked up to the sky and I was like, you are meant to be here. You are meant to be here. And I went out there and I did the best audition that I've ever done in my life. Ever. Ever. And then the next morning I woke up to an email saying that I did not advance to finals. So, very disheartening for me. And I'm not going to talk about it too much because I get emotional every time I think about it. And at that point, I did become envious of my friends who did make it, and I didn't. Because everybody, like, when I say I literally had my hotel booked for the 2 weeks, I took off of work. I had someone watching my dog at the time, all these things, and I didn't make it. And I don't know if that was just like me, like, being overly confident or what, but it scarred me for a little bit, and I kind of took some time off, and then I started to get back into it. And here we are today. So I said all that to say, my experience has not been a cakewalk at all. And oftentimes I am questioning my worthiness. I'm questioning how good I am. I'm questioning if I'm meant to do this, if I'm meant to be here. But I also feel like God would not give me a vision if it wasn't meant to be true in some way. I don't know if me making the field is a part of my overall goal or my overall calling and purpose, but that inclination inside of me says that I just can't give up. Not yet. So I'm not giving up yet. And if you, I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you. If you are going through a situation that's very similar to mine and you don't feel good enough, it's not about what they think of you. It's not about what other people think of you. It's about what you think of you and what you know God or your higher power is saying about you. And if you are living up to your best self, you have no room to doubt that. You have no room to envy anyone else because you are the only person on this world that is like you. And that's on that. Okay? So I'm going to move on now. A little bit, I already spilled the beans about me in my sports career and how I envy the women who are currently doing that. I would love to be able to sit on like ESPN, Sports Center, somewhere and be able to host and talk. And even like, I love the girl. I only seen one girl and she's with the NHL and she has a podcast and she also is on there as a host. And I would love to be like her. Most people want to be reporters and stuff for like NBA, NFL. I want to be a reporter for the NHL. I love hockey. And if you are a part of the crew, then you know how much I love hockey. Hockey is my jam. Okay? It is my jam. So I would love to be a reporter for hockey. And I only know one African-American guy who does commentating for hockey. Maybe there's another one, but I only know one. And if I could be number 2, like, that would be a dream come true. But yeah. I'm going to talk about now like 3 things that I wish that I did not envy. And 2 of these things are more like a one thing, but I broke it up into 3 things because I think that it's important for me to talk about all 3 of these things and to really elaborate on what I mean by them, because I want to make sure that what I'm saying correlates to what you're hearing, if that makes sense. So the first thing I wish I did not envy is my level of success. As I talked about it before, I consider myself a baby in this game because I started literally last year and I've been trying to trailblaze through ever since. I will say I envy the level of success that I see from other sports reporters and other multimedia journalists, because I've now learned that I have given myself a lot to accomplish, to do, to even like uphold. And I have so many visions and dreams and goals for this business that I am often flabbergasted in a good and a bad way, right? But of course, we all want that instant gratification. Like, why is it not happening right now? Like, I submitted my credentials for the NFL. Is no reason why I should not have NFL credentials right now. Baby girl, you gotta grow. You gotta, you gotta grow a little bit, right? So I wish I did not envy my level of success compared to other people's level of success. I also make custom apparel in terms of like sports clothing and stuff. And I just seen like somebody's got a NFL like licensing deal. And I'm like, why don't I have that? Like, I'm so envy that she has it. I don't have that, right? But I got more on the plate. I got more to eat, right? Before I can actually get there. So I don't want to envy that, even though I do a little bit, but I don't want to envy that because I don't want to hinder my own progression and my own success because I'm looking at what other people are doing. I don't know their path. I don't know their journey. And I don't want to know their path or their journey in a way. Because the more I indulge into them, the less I indulge into me, right? So I want to be able to indulge in myself. And I honestly want to be able to feel as motivated as possible. And this is where I go in my prayers. And if you're not super religious, that's okay. I don't want to turn you away from here. It's just something that I do. So I'm often praying to just be able to see tunnel vision. So I can just have tunnel vision for what I'm supposed to do. And I ask for the orderance and guidance of my steps, because that is how I am going to navigate myself in this path of success, because it's going to be successful. I believe in myself enough that it's going to be successful. And they always say you only need the faith of a mustard seed, but they also on top of that says that faith without work is dead. So you have to make sure you're putting in the work and make sure that your faith is working with the work so that it all can work out for each other. Hope you got that. If you didn't get that, rewind this back and take it in and go from there. Okay? The second thing that I wish I did not envy, and I'm going to read it, says, seeing others do what I do on another scale. Again, that's level of success. But it's doing it on a bigger scale. So I want to be able to go into sporting events and sporting games under my own company, under my own business. And for the whole last year, I just was like, I have my company, I have my business, but I'm trying to connect with others. I want to hire people to help me do this. I want to collab with everybody underneath the sun. I don't feel like I'm good enough to do this on my own. I need other people. I need to help build somebody else's brand so I can learn what it means to build a brand, to have a business, and wow, woo, woo, woo. But the whole time, I should have been building myself. I was in a way, but I wasn't building my business because I was so focused on building someone else's. And God was like, I didn't give you this business idea and this business plan for you to go and put into someone else's business. You need to do it for yourself. Why do you feel like you're not good enough? Why do you feel like what I gave you, you're not good enough for? Why do you feel that way? And this year, when I wrote down my goals and I wrote down all of that, and me having my conversations with the man upstairs, I really had to open up and to see I'm good enough. Yeah, this girl is good enough. I'm envying what other people do on larger scales, and I'm not going to do it on a larger scale if I don't do it. If I'm not doing it for myself. If I'm not doing it for me. God gave me a vision, and He gave me purpose, and this whole time, I wasn't thinking I was good enough. So let me tell you this right now. You're good enough. You are good enough. That's it. You're good enough. As you go through, you're going to learn for yourself. As you go through, you're going to hit bumps in the road. You're going to hit mistakes. You're going to fall down. You got to get back up. Okay? You can't be down there looking up and saying, oh man, I can't, why he doing what I'm trying to do? I can't even do it. I'm not good enough. Let me go try to be and build their business. that's going to continue to lead you to be envious because you're not building your own. You're putting your pride and your joy and you're putting your gifts and all of your talents into someone else's brand, to someone else's vision, that you're not feeding your own vision that was given to you because you don't think you are good enough. And I'm telling you now, you are good enough. I'm speaking life into you. The same way that I got to speak life into myself, the same way that my father upstairs be speaking to me. Okay? You are good enough. And whatever he's given you is enough. Watch him work. You put it in. You put in that work and watch him work for you. He's going to work for you. He's going to work. Right? So I wish I did not envy where other people are because I was trying to be where they were without actually being where they were. Hopefully that didn't go over your head. Okay. The third thing that I wish I wasn't envy of is having the connections that other people have. So I can say I am really easy to talk to. I like to think so. And I love being able to talk with different people, right? But oftentimes the lack of confidence I have in myself stops me from connecting to and with other people. Prime example, I do freelance modeling from time to time, do my own thing, right? And when I'm going to these events or I get chosen for something, a lot of times I'm not that boisterous girl that's out there talking to everybody, right? My most recent encounter was I was at a celebrity basketball game and I was part of the volunteer models and I was there volunteering. And I networked really good with the girls, the other girls that were around me. Some girls were really cool and everything. But there were plenty of celebrities in the building. And I did not network with them. And part of me is like, you don't know how to do that. And why don't I? I've networked and talked to people all day long. Why didn't I go talk to them? I never know what to say. Oh, well, maybe they're going to look at me funny. So what if they do? What if they say no? No's the only answer that's other than yes. What if it's always the what if, right? And I allow the what if to stop me from going out and doing things. And I'm working on changing that. That's probably the hardest part of this whole process, right? Another time I went to a seminar and all these people, all these entrepreneurs everywhere, just everywhere, right? Everybody's networking, everybody's talking, everybody's sharing business cards and sharing ideas and, gaining mentors or whatever. And I talked to a few people once again, but I'm not finding those right connections. I'm not building the right connections. I'm not asking the right questions. And I felt like I left there empty. Because if I'm in a room with a whole bunch of entrepreneurs, why am I not coming up with more valuable skills than I already knew as to how to grow and scale my business? Because those what ifs creep up in the back of my head and they creep in my mind, and then I don't do it. And when I see other people who are so like social butterflies, just like me, but they're a little bit more of a social butterfly because they literally can go out and talk to everyone. They're talking to people. They're talking to, different, celebrities, entrepreneurs, reporters, and everything. And they're getting the connections and they're leaving out fruitful. And I feel like, darn, I didn't do that. Darn, I didn't make a new connect. Darn, how do you do that? Why can't I be like that? Why nobody want to talk to me? No, they don't want to talk to me. They just don't know me because I'm hush, quiet in the back somewhere. So I really want to be able to work on that within myself because I feel like a lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if I don't know these people, I'm never going to be as big as others because I'm not going to get there. So that's the third thing I wish I didn't envy. I wish that instead of envying it, I was it. I was getting out there, doing what I need to do, setting the record, setting the tone for myself, showing people who I am, showing them how passionate I am and how much energy I have for this, from everything, from freelance modeling, from sports to cheer to everything. Even when it comes time to, like, when I used to take my dog to the dog park, I used to be like, darn, that lady is so popular because she is around all the dog moms. And everybody used to love my dog because he was beautiful and, like, he was so outgoing. Like, how was he my animal? And he was even more outgoing than I was. I'm a little shy. Like, low key, I'm a little shy. And he wasn't. And I'm like, you know, he used to go over there and run with the other dogs and, like, and playing with them. He used to drink their water and everything. And I'm like, darn, this little dog is like, yeah, outgoing. And I'm like, well, why can't I be like that? Why can't I be like the dog mom that got all the other dog moms around her talking to her? You know, I got a good personality. I like to laugh. I can make a person laugh. But my shyness and those what if thoughts in the back of my mind never allowed me to do that. So that's the third thing I wish I wasn't envious about, and I'm going to work on. And I'm going to work on it. And I'm going to come again on my hot takes. I'm going to let y'all know where I am in my process. Okay? Now, whole thing I'm talking about, envy, lack of confidence, lack of, you know, the self-esteem and all these other things. I do just want to say that it is okay. It is okay to feel these things. It's okay to doubt yourself sometimes. Well, actually, no, it's not okay to doubt yourself. But I'm just saying, like, if you have those moments of doubts and stuff, it's okay. Like, do not beat yourself up if you have those doubts. Do not beat yourself up if you're not the most confident person in the room. It's okay. Like, that's just something that you need to work on. And another one of my mentors also told me is called an OFI. Those are opportunities for improvement, right? So if you know that your self-confidence is something that you need to improve on, use that as your opportunity to improve in every which way. So, like, for me, I say one of my OFIs, again, is being able to go out there and pitch myself and to connect with people. And at the end of the day, everything is about selling yourself. And sometimes I'd be going to a place, I'm like, it's not the time and the place to be selling myself. Baby, yes, it is. Yes, it is. If I want $1 million husband, I gotta be able to sell myself, right? And I don't be selling myself. So it's always a time to sell yourself. Now, if you want to change the way you do it when you're going to different places, that's cool, right? So one of my OFIs is I need to learn how to sell myself and sell my brand and sell my business without feeling shamed about it. Because I watch so many people sell so many things, and it's like, what? You know, I've seen a girl at Super Bowl. After Super Bowl, she was walking around with a box of brownies, selling herself in those brownies. And the price was the price. She wasn't going down on it. It was a little cute little box, 2 brownies in the inside, $10. And as she's selling you these brownies, you see her holding them in the box. You see them in the containers. You see, like, oh, this looks like you're looking through them. As you're looking through them, she's telling you about herself. She's telling you about her business. She's telling you, you know, that, you know, she had Natalie Nunn about her brownies and stuff like that. And this person, and the third this and that, and like, and I take all payments, you know, and it's like, okay, well, then girl, you done sold me. I done bought the brownies. So that's what I need to do. That's my opportunity for improvement. So it's okay if you feel these things, but it's not okay for you to not change them and grow within those opportunities, because you can do it. If Brownie Girl can do it, so can you. Okay? And she was selling brownies to them 49ers fans, and they was mad, baby. They was mad, but they still was buying them brownies. So again, if she can do it, you can do it. Stop sleeping on yourself. Wake up. It's time to wake up. The alarm is going off. Okay? A few more things. I wanted to say, like, how I would say how you can win the battle of envy within your success. I would say that you can win by, 1, recognizing and pointing out your envious thoughts. Number 2, using those envious thoughts and turning them into something that could be positive and using it for an opportunity for growth. And I would say my third thing is that I would say, I would say that you need to write down things in your journal. I have a journal that I write down, and it's a gratitude journal. And it's on my phone. You can download the journal app. You probably already have it with the new update, but if you don't, download it or use your notepad. I would say every day you should be doing this, but I'm not gonna lie to y'all and say that I write in my gratitude journal every single day. I'm getting better at that, but every time I feel an envious thought, I'm going to write down, or I do write down, what I am grateful for. That counter to it's that envious thought. So if I'm envious that someone has more success for me than me and they're standing on the Thursday night football field, I'm saying I am grateful for the fact that I was able to maintain and I was able to get over 35 credentials for 2023 as my first year as a sports reporter. I am grateful that in 2024, as I started the year, I was coming in with season credentials to ECHL hockey, NBA G League, Clemson and Georgia Tech basketball, men's and women's. And I got an opportunity to do the Senior Bowl. I got an opportunity to get sound bites at Pro Bowl. And I have an opportunity to do the Legacy Bowl. These are things that I'm grateful for. Because although it may not be as big as a Thursday night football game, I'm doing a lot more than some people who wish they could. Not everybody can get these credentials. Not everybody gets their foot in the door. Not everybody builds relationships to better their craft. And I was able to do that within a year and some change of my career. That's how you can combat that. And I'm going to say it's okay to feel these thoughts, but it's not okay if you don't take them and change them and move forward. Use it as motivation instead of envy. Because the more you use it as motivation, the better you will be at whatever you do in life, whatever stage you're in. If you're just starting out, please stop looking at other people. Stop comparing yourself to other people, because that's going to lead you to continue to stay at your bottom pit, right? And you need to be able to elevate and do better within yourself, because you can do it. Okay? Remember that you need to stay sharp within your skills. So the things that you know how to do, sharpen them. The things that you don't know how to do, learn how to do it better and then sharpen it. You got to stay sharp to be sharp. And that's it. Okay? And the last thing I want to say is you have to have the heart for what you are physically trying to do. Not just the courageous heart. You have to make sure that your overall health is in its place. And I did get this from my pastor, Pastor Michael Todd, and he always talks about, talks about being hot, but also talks about finishing the race, getting there, and understanding where you are in your faith journey. If you're not a faith person, if you're not a religious or spiritual person, that's okay too. Whoever you believe in or whatever you do, make sure that they are in the guidance of your life, because you want to make sure that you are able and capable to finish out and even to begin what you are starting. Okay? So I hope that wasn't too boring for you guys. I hope you got a bit of a glimpse of who I am as a person, and that I am going through these same things and I'm navigating through everything that I'm talking about. Okay, so always remember that you can reach out to me on any of my social media platforms. Make sure you are liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, being a part of the crew at PG Love Sports. You can, if you want to support this podcast, you can become a member on Patreon and leave me tips, donations. And if you want to write in so we can have a conversation, a more personal conversation, please feel free to do that. And pretty soon I'm going to be dropping my PDFs and courses for sports knowledge. So please stay tuned for all of those things. Thank you so much for listening. I cannot wait until the next time. So next week, so you can see who I get to interview. I will see you on the other side. Bye now.